Here at the Giver Marketing Network, we don't leave you drifting out in space. We connect you to a coach who will help you build and grow your marketing business. Our process acts as a guide on how to connect with other businesses, maintain good relations, and establish a presence on the Giver Marketing Network. Each member within this collaborative group will have the opportunity to leverage your talent and influence, a true network effect. If you are looking to collaborate on more projects, welcome to the Giver Marketing Network, the most trusted and highest rated collective of specialists on the planet. Here we have a group of like-minded professionals who focus on making valuable introductions and helping each other grow by teaming up. Imagine Upwork meets a network and a coach. The talent collectively includes services like visibility and SEO, creating logos, designing websites, managing social media, outreach messaging, visual storytelling, and much more. Think of what you could do with laser-focused allies strengthening your business while offering your talents to the entire network. Click near this video for more information.
Let's go, Giver Marketing Network and Kingdom Warriors University. We are here. Deane is with us. We have others in the VIP room going to be joining us a little bit later in just about 20 minutes. And so we're excited to jump in to a topic that we always hear about in the marketing space, right, Christine?
Oh, yeah.
The R word. What's the topic of today?
The big R word, referrals.
That's right.
Oh, no, not that.
Here's a phrase that I hear a lot, Christine. We'll just kind of tee this up. This will be fun. I don't do marketing. I rely on referrals. How many times have you heard that phrase before?
Absolutely. And people don't realize it kind of goes hand in hand. I mean, hello.
Well, depending on how you define marketing, referrals is probably your number one marketing activity. Trying to generate referrals, encourage referrals, ask for referrals. That's revenue and referral generating activity. So we put that under the umbrella of marketing in our movement, in our space, and how we discuss marketing and communication and media outreach of any kind, or asking people to help us with our business in relation to introductions, referrals, activity that would put more appointments and attention on our calendars and on our products and services. So to us, that's marketing 101, is learn how to generate more referrals in your business. And it could even be in a nonprofit scenario where you're generating more introductions to potential donors, potential volunteers, potential team members, potential folks who really want to partner with you in your organization on the for-profit or the nonprofit side. We still value introductions and referrals. So with that, let's think of this as an actual system or a strategy underneath your marketing and communication umbrella. Does that sound like a fun thing to do today?
I think we're going to have a blast. If you don't have a system for referrals in your business or in your organization, you are missing out. This is a really important topic. This is an opportunity to get a really low cost system in place, right, for getting in more business. And who doesn't want that? Let's
go. So I'm going to share my screen here in just a minute. I want to make sure I got the right one up. Okay, good. Share screen. And we are ready to rock and roll when it comes to referrals. Okay, so this is a little visual, a slide deck, if you will, that I've been able to put together for us today in our conversation. And for those who are watching live, please, even if you're watching the replay, put comments, questions, ideas, thoughts. Take notes in the comments today so that others can benefit from kind of your ideation, your thinking, your takeaways, your questions, those kind of things. I'm Timothy Morgan, founder, CEO of Giver Marketing and Giver Marketing Network. This is Christine Deane. She's a certified marketing coach. She's also our team director. She's just an amazing person. You'll want to look her up even right now, as you're listening to this or watching this, look her up. Last name Deane. So that's a good way to find her on LinkedIn and other places, Facebook and other places. That's how we connected, and that's how we're working together. So I highly recommend doing the same with her. Okay. Referral ping pong. What is this? Is this a game? What is this we're talking about? It's basically a gamification of an introduction and referral type activity within your organization. Okay, so we're going to have some fun talking about that. But before we jump into it, I do want to share that the Giver Marketing Network is on a mission to bring positive attention to causes and companies doing good in the world. We're the do-gooders of the marketing space. We're a movement of marketing mavericks shaking up the world and making sure things are going in a positive direction. That's a little bit about us. Today, we're going to be talking about this game where we encourage people to reciprocate within several days, several business days of the activity beginning. It creates a kind of a back and forth scenario, so it's super fun. I want to also mention here, Christine, I know you and I talk to a lot of people, and many of our members, we end up setting up appointments and conversing and chatting with many, like thousands of people over the course of several years. Um, and sometimes much more than that, depending on the broadcasts we're on and things like this. But ultimately, there are people that are not interested in reciprocating. They're not. They don't understand the law of reciprocation. They're more of a a taker, not just a receiver. They literally will take all the introduction, all the connections you have. They'll take all the value you have. They'll pick your brain. These are the same kind of people that will ask you to do things for free. There's no real compensation or reciprocation. These are the people we don't. If you're that kind of person and you're watching this, like, this is not for you. This is a game where there's a value exchange that's happening the whole time. Okay, this is not a game where you're trying to crush somebody or hurt somebody or take from somebody or so I just want to be really clear, like, what we're talking about here is for givers. Like, this is for people who give, but there's a strategy to it too, right? Christine, we don't give randomly, right? We're not really ones who train and teach and talk about random acts of kindness. That's fine if you want to do that periodically, but we're talking about a strategic reciprocal activity that helps you. If you have healthy boundaries and you know where you're going, it helps you generate very valuable introductions, but it also allows you the privilege of giving very valuable introductions. We all have a Rolodex. We all have connections. We all have people in our databases that I just had a gentleman send me over 50,000 contacts just because I was able to bless him in a particular way. And so there's different variations of this that go way beyond one or two here or there, but you got to start somewhere. And we want to encourage you, have boundaries of where you're focused, where your aim is, be intentional about this strategy.
And I'm
But
going to add in
yeah,
a tidbit there also, Timothy. When you think about takers, right? Sometimes they take because they just don't know any better. Sometimes you have to educate people on how you want them to be your referral partner, right? So
come on.
part of the
That's a good
process
point.
is an education process, right? Sometimes it just doesn't occur to people. They're like, oh, well, that was nice. Thanks. And they're thinking it's a random act of kindness. You're like, let's work together and put a system in place and continue to work together instead of doing one off. You could just get one referral from me, or you could be a productive referral partner and we could put a system in place and we can continue to do this. And they're like, oh, right. So sometimes you have to let people know what the expectations are.
Hey, if 50% of businesses don't make it after 5 years, longer than 5 years, there's got to be some clues that we can take from those who do make it, who do survive, who do thrive. And I think this is one of the keys. Christine, you've been in business for years and years and years and years. You've been a teacher before that. You know how to communicate, connect, bring an audience into kind of a place of of learning and growing and developing, and you've coached so many people along the way. It's important to note that those who are able to kind of take a social clue and say, hey, I received a referral from this person. Maybe I should compensate them or bless them in some way. And sometimes money is the best way to compensate a referral, but sometimes it's good to just ask, what would you like in return? Do you want 3 referrals from me, introductions from me? Would you like a couple $100? Would you like what would you like in return for sending me this introduction? Maybe they didn't even turn into a client yet, but they're a really great introduction. So there's so many scenarios here. And as we jump through this strategy, I want to remind us that the blueprint that we discuss, what my book is being written about, we're finalizing some of those pieces right now, is all around the giver marketing blueprint. It includes pieces of marketing that you don't want to forget about. And technically, referrals would come under the promotion and nurturing umbrella, or a part of the umbrella. So we would want to encourage you to include referrals as a part of your marketing strategy. It's not separate. It's not random. It's not hope and pray that something happens next month. It's an actual trackable activity that you want to be able to predict. Oh, I think on average I'm getting 5 to 10 referrals a month. So let's build a strategy around that. Like, how do I increase that to 20 or 25? What would that look like to your business? Christine, do you have any thoughts on that?
You definitely want a system. Like I said, if you're not doing referrals, you're missing out. You already have fans. You have people that adore you. So why not ask them, hey, who else do you know, right? Put a system in place with your happy clients and find out who else they think you should help. Right. Yep. You're thinking, don't think of it as I'm imposing. And I think that's the mindset is where people run into problems, because they're thinking, oh, I don't want to bother them. I don't want to cause me problems. I don't want to, whatever. Or maybe they're afraid of bad reviews, which isn't a bad thing either, because that's how we learn and grow. Right. And if you have an opportunity to make a situation that was wrong right, that makes you look like a rock star also. Right. So all those negative things that you're worried about, you got to get past that self-talk and realize that you have an opportunity to help more people if you ask the people that already believe in you to introduce you to other people that need your help.
And you can do this, to Christine's point, you can do this in a way that encourages your current clients and customers to give you referrals. You just need to somehow compensate or reciprocate in some way with them. But there's also power partners that are in adjacent industries, folks who have a lot of connections and you have goodwill with them. They know you, you know them. It's just a match made in heaven to be able to just open up your Rolodex periodically and just shoot over 5 introductions, maybe 10 introductions, and then they do the same. And then at that point, I mean, what's a referral or even just an introduction worth? Christine, what would you say a value is on a typical introduction? You and I have done this for years. What's a typical introduction worth? $50, $100, $500? Like, I don't know. Like, what do you?
It really depends on the situation. We talked about clear expectations, right? For me, as a DFW networking diva, I've put systems in place where I'm a consistent power partner, and I take a percentage off sales. So I'll take a 10%, 20% cut on something. Right. Okay. So I pass business through, they give me a percentage back, or it could be a flat fee, like you said. So there's a bunch of different ways you can do it depending on which side and what makes sense for the situation. Right. Yep. Referrals can be a big part of your business.
I love the fact that there's a lot of nuances to this, and there's a lot of strategies depending on your business. If you're selling products, it could be slightly different. If you have a lot of power partners, it could be slightly different. But the point is make a game out of it, make it fun, make it interesting. I mean, I'm just thinking of like some of the software developers. Like, we're gonna have Dustin Stout on here in just a few minutes. Maybe just the idea of having people make introductions and referrals, and you give them a percentage off of the product they're already using, like as a thank you. And that's not as much sending them a check or pinging them with, cash all the time. I mean, there's so many different ways to do it.
Well,
If
and
you
it
can't
ties in
find a different,
nicely with the referral programs and tying it in with affiliate programs, right? So all that can really tie together depending on how crazy you want to get on this.
yeah. So we work with a lot of service providers, a lot of coaches, consultants, a lot of marketing professionals, and so we're gonna look at LinkedIn as the kind of the platform of choice for today. But this can be applied to any platform. It can be applied. You can leverage text or
Text
email,
messages, emails,
emails. Like you can do it this all
messenger.
different, yeah, all different ways. So just to be clear, LinkedIn is not the only place you could do this, but anywhere you can do a three-way introduction, anywhere you can do a three-way introduction, this strategy will work. Okay. Some people, I'm seeing a lot of folks leverage a lot of different platforms right now and very creatively. So you could apply this to your, here's the point. If clients are on the platform or use or on the other end of the tool you're using, then this is a good strategy for you. If you're looking for more team members, power partners, preferred vendors, I don't know how many power partners have introduced me to other power partners. Like, that's amazing. Like, thank you. And, all the more um, reciprocation is going to go that direction because they weren't afraid to introduce someone that would maybe grab my attention or create a lot of momentum. They were bold enough to do that. So this is where you start getting really broad in how you could apply this strategy. Okay. By the way, LinkedIn, if you want to know more about LinkedIn, talk to me personally. I'll get you to the right people in our network and we'll help you light up LinkedIn like you've never seen before. We're world class at LinkedIn. I think just on my calendar alone, we had 1,000 appointments, about 300 introductions and referrals because of this strategy today. Okay. So I want to make it clear that this is a very, very powerful and we actually do this. Okay. It's not something we just train on. Typical results of like a LinkedIn strategy or even a Facebook strategy, leveraging some of the tips that we're about to show you could generate as many as 10 to 20 warm phone or Zoom calls every month, like clockwork. It's a system. You know exactly what's going on, how many you've given, how many you've received. An average of 30 to 50% of introductions will connect as a warm conversation eventually. This is way higher than just a cold uh, list somewhere. And I mentioned a list before. That's fine, but this is a whole different ball gaming where you get very warm introductions because there's a third party involved. You're leveraging their good name, and they've made the introduction to you. Does that make sense, everybody? Okay. Any questions, comments, thoughts? What about this? Any kind of questions in the comments, and we'll be able to visit those in just a few minutes. Christine, you had something?
Yeah. You're talking about, we're leveraging their good name, right? So we have a moral responsibility when someone gives us a referral that we are very respectful and that we follow up. And just because somebody else put their name on the line for you, right? I'm going to make this introduction for you, right? No, don't make me look bad. Just saying,
That's right. That's right.
And I tell people, I'm like, if I give you a referral and you don't like them for whatever their issue is, let me know. If I need to
Yep.
pull them out of my referral list, I can do that, right? So you
Yep.
got to be good people.
Come on, I like this. And you're reminding me of those times when I wasn't able to follow up with maybe one or two of the referrals that you gave me, Christine, or others have given me, and I've had to go back and say, "Hey, I missed this one. I got buried in my inbox. I apologize. Can we pick the conversation back up?" And as long as you handle that with class, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to handle and rehandle things with class, especially conversations like that are so valuable. For me, an introduction is worth about $100. A solid referral with somebody who's waiting to do business worth about 1,000. So anywhere kind of in that range, depending on who's being referred, is kind of that range of the value of an introduction slash referral. It just depends on a couple of things, but that's a general ballpark that I use. I'm like, thank you so much for that introduction or that referral. And if they end up doing business right away, great. If they don't, that's okay. I still got a potential client or another power partner or someone who has some value to offer either me on a business level or a personal level even. I don't know how many coaches I've had where I end up with super blessed by some of their insights into my personal life. Like just so many positives that can come about being introduced to really rad people.
Yep.
Your calendar can light up with as many referrals and introductions as you want. You just have to leverage this. Take a screenshot of this, ladies and gentlemen. This is the screenshot right here. This is how to make a 3-way introduction. If you don't know how to do this, pay very close attention to this. Christine, did you have any thoughts before we jump into this?
Yep. You had to know I was going to have something.
Yeah, I can hear it. Let's go.
So when I look at this, I think, yes, but one of the great things is to, when you're on a conversation with somebody, hey, do you know so-and-so? Because it feels really silly when you introduce people that already know each other.
Yeah.
So it never hurts to check with one of them and be like, hey, do you know so-and-so? And they're like, oh, no, I don't. Okay, great. I'd love to introduce you, as opposed to, yes, I do. They're my best friend. Oh, okay. Well, I probably don't need to introduce you because they're coming over for dinner on Sunday. Right.
Yeah. And you can even build that into your scripts. Like, hey, if you don't know each other already, I'm sure it would be valuable to reconnect. So-and-so meet so-and-so. And you can kind of cover yourself in so many different ways, especially if you're introducing somebody to the same industry or the same region. If they're in the same industry or the same region, you can always cover yourself, like Christine is talking about, by putting in a little bit of like a question almost, like, or hinting at, like, if you haven't met, you should definitely connect or reconnect. Like, I use that language all the time. So that's a great tip, Christine. Thank you for that. Okay, so let's get into the tools and the pragmatics of how to leverage. Let's just use LinkedIn as an example. So you can do this on Facebook. You can do this on text messaging, email, of course. People know how to do it on email and text messaging for the most part. But when it comes to some of these social platforms, they make it a little bit more difficult than I would think. Like, I don't know why. I kind of know why, but I don't know why. They would make it fairly difficult. But if you go into the messaging area of LinkedIn, it'll give you that little what's the official name of that icon where you're transcribing? Not transcribing, but you're scribe. It's that little writing symbol.
The little thing with the little pencil on it, right? And
yeah. What you said, Christine. I love
that
this
thing.
Yeah, a little square with a pencil on it. Yeah, that little there's a term for it. Gosh darn it. Anyway, click on that little icon. I never remember it. I look it up, I remember it for a second, then I never remember the official name of it. It's where you actually are scribing something or writing something. Anyway, you click on that link, it gives you the option within LinkedIn. It's slightly different on Facebook, other channels or other platforms as well. But in LinkedIn, it allows you to add 2 names. Ta-da! Like, it's not, you don't just need to send a message to one person. That's not the only option on LinkedIn. And by the way, you can do this on mobile and on desktop. So as of the time of this recording, it's totally available to no matter how you access LinkedIn.
In the box, it says type in a name or multiple names. But be careful not to do too many. I've seen that before, and then it doesn't show everybody's names, and it just gets confusing. So,
yeah, there's rare situations where you want to do a group message to like a dozen people, or that's when you're like in a mastermind or in a group, and you just want to continue a conversation.
It's 2 co-founders that you want to introduce to somebody. It happens, but usually keep it simple. You don't want too many people blowing up one message, otherwise it just goes crazy, right? If anybody's ever been part of a group text message, and you know how that blows things up, and you're like, make it stop.
Make it stop. That's a good point. So what we're encouraging here is, instead of a 1-to-1 message, it's a 1-to-2 message. So that makes 3, right? So it's you introducing one person to another person. And so if you put, in this example, it says Jason and Amber near where it says type in multiple names. Jason and Amber are the ones we're referring to each other. And so we'd somehow try to tag them if at all possible. It's not necessary, but if you can tag them in the actual message, put the @ symbol behind their name, meet, at Amber so-and-so, meet at Jason so-and-so. Their names will light up, become blue. Your names came to mind in a recent conversation. Hope you find this introduction mutually beneficial. If you think they might know each other, you can say, if you haven't met, maybe circle back. This would be a great conversation for both of you. Just language that would make sense, but don't make it a novel. You don't have to explain why one person should meet another. You're on LinkedIn, you're on Facebook, if you're on any of these social platforms, you don't need to sit there and write a paragraph about each person. It's not necessary. In fact, sometimes it's counterproductive. So we want to encourage you, let people click around and look at each other's profile and make their own big boy and girl decision on whether they want to actually set up an appointment or just ask some questions. A lot of times you can see the thread in the three-way conversation, and it gives you an idea of how they're handling this introduction. And to your point earlier, Christine, if they handle it well and with class, and they're not being pitchy, or they're not forcing somebody or using weird language, then you will be more inclined to make more referrals and introductions. And we're going to give you some scripts. So don't worry, we're going to help you stay classy, right? Stay classy, San Diego. That's one of our mottos when it comes to LinkedIn. Okay. Christine, did you have anything?
Always. One of the things I like to give just enough information to pique their interest, right?
Okay.
So I might say, such and such might be a great topic you might enjoy talking about. Or, I like to just drop just a little hint of something that makes them go, oh, right. Or Timothy is the CEO of a wonderful marketing organization, and I wanted to introduce you to this person who's a wonderful owner of this organization. I could see some possible collaborations. Good luck. Right.
Yep.
It's just a hint. Right. But they don't need full paragraphs and, their background and their bio, and it's like, overkill.
That's all on LinkedIn. In fact, you want people clicking on your profile. Mm-hmm. So depending on kind of your goals and how you're styled, you can see here that Christine and I have very similar mindset, similar aim and results that we get, but we have slightly different styles. And so you can take this, and here's the bottom line: keep it short. If you go too long, people are going to want to know, like, what's going on? Like, why didn't you just send an email? It doesn't always make sense to be long-winded in your message.
We're fast. We're in a hurry. We got things to do. If you give me, 5 pages, I have to scroll through and read. It's probably I'll get back to that later. And we all know how that goes. Yeah. You may not get back to it. You may get dropped down and get lost in the fog, right? So keep it short and simple.
To that point, Christine, that's one of the benefits of LinkedIn. I found over some of the other platforms is it's not in a hurry. LinkedIn's not in a hurry. LinkedIn is classy. It's timely. It's even the inbox. If you don't get back to somebody for 2 or 3 business days, that's acceptable. And you can say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was, it was over the weekend," or I was out of town for a couple of days," and it's totally acceptable, because LinkedIn is kind of this almost like private community of invite only conversations. And so it feels a lot more high quality. And so I wanted to mention that, because some people are like, well, what if I get a bunch of conversations going in my inbox? Well, that's what you want. Like, you pay people to give you referrals, introductions, leads. You spend a bunch of time trying to generate high quality conversations and appointments. Like, this is what you want. So handle it with class, but don't feel like you have to be in too much of a rush. You just got to handle them on a consistent basis. We recommend jumping into your LinkedIn inbox or your Facebook inbox on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and you're good. Like, you don't need to spend 5 hours a day on this stuff. Spend
and that's why your messages need to be succinct, right? Because these are professionals. These are busy people. Don't waste their time. Just going to say, right. Nice, clear, concise, to the point.
You can see here even just the example of an inbox I took a screenshot of. This is an actual conversation with an actual link. Yes, you can use that link. Like, this is an actual conversation. It's super short, super sweet. It just gets right to the point. Your inbox starts lighting up. Their inbox starts lighting up. It's super fun to be able to help each other keyword each other with this kind of activity. Okay, here's the question that we always get. Like, what's the script? Like, what's maybe the guiding text or language to use? What's the template to modify and adjust for my own brand? What's the swipe file? What's the language here? Okay. So we already mentioned something very quickly earlier, but I'm going to go over it in kind of large text here on the screen. Try to tag people, whether you're in LinkedIn or Facebook or other platforms, to the best of your ability. If you're obviously in text or email, it's very difficult to do any of that. But that's the beauty of these social platforms. If you do an introduction through a social platform like LinkedIn, you can tag them, put the word meet so that you can go back and search for introductions. I use the word meet every single time. It's either meet or have you met. Those are the two phrases that I use all the time, so I can go back and look at how many introductions have I made to Christine Deane? How many introductions have I made to so-and-so? How many and I can go back and look at in various ways. You can look up their name, you can look up a keyword, and it makes it very easy.
And I have a cheat program that I like to use. It's a Chrome extension with my most trusted. And actually, if you do the introduction to there, it keeps track of it. So you can go back and it'll show everybody you introduced to everybody. So I like it just for that feature alone. It's a win.
Yep. Great tip. My most trusted is kind of a suggested resource to consider here, a tool, an efficiency tool. It's also a tool that allows you to have higher quality conversations and connections based on this type of concept here. So great mention, Christine. Really good job. Okay, so what language do we use? Well, keep it casual, but make it clear. Like, your names came to mind after a recent conversation, and to Christine's point earlier, you can mention recent conversation about marketing rock stars or about movers and shakers in your region who love to help nonprofits, about so-and-so. Like, I saw you both on a Zoom chat and thought you guys should make it official and connect. Like, different ways of making these introductions bring a little bit of context, but not too much. And then if like we said earlier, if the connection hasn't been made yet, well, consider it done. Glad to introduce professionals doing good in the world. Sometimes that's all it takes. Sometimes you need to put a little juice in the message, but keep it to just a couple of sentences, maybe 3, and you're good to go. I like to add a question in there so that the dialogue can kind of be off to the races. Sometimes I don't, but bottom line is this is it. Like, some version of this. Modify it as you will, but this is the introduction message itself. And remember, there's 3 people in this conversation. I've seen a lot of people try to do this, and there's only 2 people in the conversation, and it doesn't make sense because you haven't clicked that extra person. You need to put that extra person in the conversation. Okay, good. Christine, did you have anything else on this? There's just so many different ways we can go with
There's so many different ways to do it, right? I'm a little bit more fun with mine. Yours is very practical, Timothy.
Yep.
As a diva, I have diva in my name. All right, mine's going to be a little bit more diva-ish. So
she puts a little sprinkles on her messaging,
there's
but
sprinkles of glitter on everything.
That's right. That's right. So depending on who you are, stay to your brand, like make the introduction. By the way, it's kind of a good segue to this point, Christine. You making an introduction puts who top of mind? Who becomes top of mind when you make an introduction?
Perhaps the networking diva.
Yeah, whoever's making the introduction is top of mind for sure. They look like a giver, which they are. They're thinking about others, not just themselves. So they're mature in their business acumen and their mindset. Plus, you're giving an actual valuable something to 2 people at one time. We talk about giving value, like, hey, I'm going to send you something, or I'm going to give you some time, or here's a little mini session, or here's a tip. Giving value is what we do as business owners. We solve problems. We give value. We alleviate pain. Well, sometimes what people need is just a bunch of amazing connections and introductions, and that's extremely valuable. So you become kind of the rock star in the room that's bringing in some other musicians and creating an amazing band. You know what I mean? Like it just starts getting really fun. All
I
right.
often say that I don't introduce you necessarily to clients, but I introduce you to great synergy partners.
Come
Right.
on.
So
Yep. Clients, partners, vendors that they were looking for, anything that would make sense, that would save them time and reduce their anxiety level. It's really, really helpful. All right. I love that, Christine. So what do we do after the introduction's been made to us? Let's say, Christine, you've made an introduction to me and a guy named Dustin Stout. Okay. Like, what happens? Like, what do we do? Well, I'm gonna tell you this right now. I'm gonna put at Christine Deane. Thanks so much for introducing us. You're such a connector, and that's the truth. If they're doing this, they're a connector. Okay. And then at the bottom, I might put at Dustin Stout. Super excited. Look for a direct message so we can set something up. I don't go in and start spamming them with my a link to my website. I don't even put scheduler links very often in a group chat like this. Sometimes I will, but not too often. I keep it pretty light, and I take on the responsibility myself. Christine's done all the hard work. She's made the introduction. So I take on the responsibility of connecting with Dustin Stout and go and send them a private message to him directly. And that way, there's still a record of the introduction, but we've taken it offline to more of a one-on-one conversation. There are some times when I'll blow up a three-way conversation just for fun, just to show off to Christine that this is what I'm following up. I'm being a big boy. I'm doing a good job. And that's fine. But at some point, you want to be a personal connection with this introduction. Okay. So this is what we recommend. Send them a direct connection request with a note. So in this case, if Christine made the introduction to Dustin and I would send a message to Dustin after thanking everybody. Okay. So there's really only like 2 or 3 steps here, and it's just very, very, so for some people, it's networking 101. It's like, this is what you do. And for other people, there's a little bit of training that kind of gets you going. Okay. So I would say, I'm glad Christine Deane connected us, so we don't play phone, message tag, and I'm messaging Dustin at this point. Okay. So we don't play phone, message tag, find a day here, put a scheduler link in. I use a lot of incorrect grammar on purpose just to make it feel very, very
casual.
Thank you, Christine.
Not intimidating, right? Just keep it, hey, we're just kind of a conversation between friends.
Yeah, and I don't get overboard where I'm misspelling words and stuff like that too often. Sometimes I'll abbreviate like the word please or something, but other than that, I keep it super casual. Like Christine's saying, I'll say pick a time. Some folks, I don't even mention the phrase phone tag because they're professionals, been in business for a long time. They know exactly what's going on. But in general, this is a good script. This is a good kind of template or language set for you to consider as you're actually setting up the actual appointment with the referral, with the person that was introduced. We're bringing it home. It's going to get on our calendar. And listen, if they have no desire to connect with you, they'll tell you. They'll be like, hey, I'm so glad Christine, connected us. Let's stay in the loop with each other on LinkedIn, but I don't have the bandwidth for an appointment right now. Okay. That's totally fine. At least I have another connection on LinkedIn. So 6 months down the road, 3 months down the road, things may change tremendously, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's
I've been known to say, your booking link or mine.
Oh, great. Hey, there's a good question. Let's prime the questions. Let's prime the conversation. Let's bring Christine, if you want to bring whoever is in the green room, just bring them up. Let's have some conversations around questions. This is the time for you to put questions in the comments or the chat box. Whoever's in the green room, whoever is out there listening on internet land, this is the time to ask questions, not only for yourself, but for others. So thank you for doing that. I'm going to stop the sharing right now, but we do want to invite you to There you go. Thank you, Christine, for doing that. We want to invite you to a conversation around. Okay, so what do we do? What do we do with our kind of referral strategy here? Like, how does this work for you? Joel, did you have any thoughts, questions, comments, feedback?
Oh, yeah. So this is such a great conversation because it's so vital, right, to how we network with each other and grow our businesses, especially if you're, a solopreneur or you're a small business and you're looking to grow organically, right? And so, what I would ask Tim is in this conversation, how do you really generate a good referral partner?
It's a good question. I'm gonna defer that to Christine because she has her style of doing that. She's a professional networker. This is how she's built her business, her brand, her reputation, not only in our region but now nationally. And so,
And
Christine, what are your
internationally.
thoughts? Right? Yeah, exactly.
I never planned on it, and it just is, right? That's what I get for thinking too small to start with, right? So really, when it comes to referrals, right, putting that kind of system in place, you have to pick who's going to be a good partner, right? You got to like them. We always talk about doing business with people we know, like, and trust, right? So you got to find somebody that has got good synergy, that maybe you're working with the same client base, right? So that you can be referral partners to each other. In addition to, this is somebody you just genuinely like. That's be somebody that you would want to hang out with, because really, I don't want to be a referral partner with somebody that I don't think is top notch. Be like, you're kind of shady. I don't think I want you working with anybody I know. Sorry, bye. That's not going to work, right? So we want somebody that we actually like, and you have to train them on, be referable. What do you need to do to be referable? Right. So you have to check your messages. If this is somebody that never checks their messages, they're not going to be a good referral partner, because you're going to send them people and they're just going to sit there. Right. Or they're going to call and they're never going to return the phone call. Right. So you need somebody who's going to be reliable, somebody who's trainable, coachable, and that is actually referable. These are all important, and they're dedicated to it. Right. So like you said, reciprocation. I'm going to send you a referral. Are you going to send me some back? Because if not, then it's not really a partnership. Right. Or do we have another method in place, whether it's a compensation money and it's an affiliate program? Right. There's a lot of right answers, but everybody needs to be very clear on those expectations. Until you've done that,
I've been trying to get much better at that, Christine, because if your encouragement and others, Joel and others have said, hey, let's get really clear on expectations with, our members, our power partners and others, because as we move along here and have a little bit more impact as time goes on, the more clear the expectations, the better. So here's what I've noticed: good people refer good people for the most part. It's not 100%, but generally, top talent attracts top talent. Good people tend to have a network of pretty cool people, right? Like, so ask yourself, who would I want to meet more of? Who are there more Christine Deanes out there? Are there more Joel Snyders out there? Are there more like who's my? And sometimes people will ask you, like, who do you want me to refer you to?
You need to have an answer for that. If they go, hi, I would love to, you introduce me to these great people. Who can I introduce you to? If you sit there and go, I don't know, missed opportunity, right? And if you can't remember, put a Post-it note on the side of your computer so you can glance who I want to meet. And you might even have a strategy set in place for this week. I'm focusing on this. Next week, I'm focusing on that, right? And depending on who it is, my little Post-it note has all my favorite and referral partners. I might even be looking for something for someone else, not even for me.
Come on, there you go. So have an answer to that question is kind of it's kind of that next level. It's that advanced level. It just keeps you growing. But at some point, you need an answer to that question. Talk to one of us, and we'll help you like fine tune how to answer that question. Like, who do you want to work with? Who do you want a referral to? Who's your perfect client? You'll get this question a lot in networking groups, on Zoom, like meetings with a bunch of folks in the room, masterminds, any kind of group environment. They're going to ask you, like, how can we help you? Like, who can we introduce you to? It's got to be like, look, I'll tell you how I answer that. I'm looking to connect with marketing professionals who are high competence, high collaboration, and they really, 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 really love to focus in on high character type activities. So high character, competence, collaboration in the marketing space. And if somebody doesn't check all three of those boxes, I'm not really interested in an introduction. They might squeak into my calendar every once in a while, but that's not what I'm going for. Like, that's not what I'm focused on. If you do know somebody though, in the marketing space, like Christine Deane and Joel Snyder, they have high character, competence, and collaboration as a part of their kind of mode of working. They don't need to be the networking diva necessarily. They just need to be, because there's only one of those, but there needs to be this like avatar that starts developing, like, especially if they do good, like they love working on projects where you're doing good in the world, causes and companies, like making a positive impact. Like, those are the people I want to talk to. And so the more you can describe that, the more people are like, oh yeah, well, I'm gonna connect you with Ricky, or I'm gonna connect you with so and so. They'll come up with like 2 or 3, and that just primes the pump and just gets it going.
I think too, as people start thinking about who would be a good referral partner, I do try to lean towards people that are working with the same clients that I would work with, but in a different way.
Absolutely.
Right.
Whoa, write that down, ladies and gentlemen. The same, clients you would potentially work with, but maybe they work with them in a different way. That's going from like, I'll power partner with anybody to I'm going to power partner with very specific people. That's a great point, Joel. And I know, Christine, you do that all the time, instinctively, but sometimes we need to verbalize what we're already doing and what's working for us, so that others can kind of learn and fast track.
Absolutely. If you think about it, right, what services are you providing for who? And then what would partner up well? Think about, you can't do everything, right? If you're going to niche in real tight, then who else would provide services for my clients that they would be thrilled to have them as part of a package?
The classic in this is real estate. When you're in a room with a bunch of real estate professionals, they usually have power partnerships with folks that do they're speaking to the same client, but they do different things. One might provide the mortgage, one might provide the this, one might provide the this. Same with insurance. One might, think of it like when you're in a business networking group, they allow certain categories in the exclusive groups, which it's a great way to build a business, by the way. It just jump into one of these groups, just kind of get your feet wet. And oftentimes the categories will be exclusive based on the fact that there's not too much overlap with somebody else in the group. And so if you think about that, like there can be some overlap, but if there's too much overlap, you better know that person really well, and you better trust them like big time. They better be like a really close friend for the last 5 years or something, in order to do a real legit power partnership with them, or have some other kind of take on the same, product. Maybe you can combine products, put them into packages or something. But ultimately you want to do what Joel was talking about, finding folks that kind of complement what you're doing.
Right. Or a part of your funnel process, right? So maybe one referral partners before you, then they would refer to you, and then you have somebody who handles it afterwards, right? So think of the client journey, the funnel, what they need and what other services they need. And then you're getting in there real tight.
And that speaks to the point you made earlier, Timothy, about collaboration and reciprocation in referrals. So when you have somebody like that in your team or in your referral team, it just makes it easier to reciprocate the referral. So if I introduce you to somebody I'm working with, then, it just makes it easier because we have a familiarity on how we can work together on clients.
I love that. There's 2 layers to this that I play in quite a bit, Joel and Christine. And one is, I love getting marketing professionals together and putting packages together for clients, so that the client doesn't really have to look too far outside of our network for many of the services. And Joel, you and I, Christine, you and I, we've worked on different aspects of giver marketing projects in different ways. And actually, this broadcast is one of those projects. So it's super fun to do that. But then there's also these power partners that Joel's alluding to that are in slightly different industries, but they speak into the same audience. And I would for me anyway, for us in a general sense, folks that are consulting or coaching businesses, but not in marketing. Anybody who's consulting or coaching businesses, that could be the operations, the hiring and the firing. That could be the kind of the sales only side. Like, we can close the deal for you. I was talking to somebody yesterday, like they build sales teams. I'm like, we need to talk because we build the landslide of amazing prospects coming into your ecosystem as marketing professionals. Somebody needs to close these. And if it's not going to be the business owner themselves and they don't have the bandwidth anymore, they need a team. They need something to generate that kind of close the deal, right? So there's so many power partners that are out there. If we think, who do I know that I can power partner up with today? Ask them to play referral ping pong, like today. Do it right now. Like, and if your LinkedIn isn't perfect, that's okay. Like, talk to any one of us and we'll help you get it at least to the point where you look pro going into the conversation. Same with your Facebook. There's nothing wrong with starting this on Facebook and just practicing and playing around. And then at some point you want to graduate to platforms that are just super professional, and LinkedIn is one of those. There's others that I won't mention today. There's just so many new ones coming up, and I don't know their 3-way introduction capabilities, so I don't want to confuse the conversation, but you can certainly reach out to folks and start it there and then bring them over to LinkedIn or a text message or something else like that. So anyway, hey, that's the time we have for today. Any last thoughts as we kind of land the plane here?
If you're not doing referrals as part of your business, once again, you need to. And if you're not sure how to do that, reach out to one of us, whether it's Joel Snyder, who's great at putting systems in place, Timothy Morgan, or myself. We want you to succeed. And you are leaving money on the table if you are not taking advantage of the awesome referrals that are out there.
Come on.
Also, I would say there are lots of networking groups out there that are like-minded in their focus. And so when you become a part of that group and get known for what you do, and you're focusing on that group's mission, it makes it easier also to make referrals. And Christine's running the networking session that we are doing tomorrow. And I totally, want to stress that if you're a marketer or a business owner and you want to learn deeper about the different kinds of services and people that you can trust to help you with your business, you need to be there. And that's just a great opportunity to move this conversation forward for you as a tool for building your business.
Hey, it's great to meet new people, connect, have some fun, learning about how to put packages together, white label each other's services, even power partnerships of all different kinds. Christine, you're doing a great job on Wednesdays about getting us together and just having these open conversations. There's no cost. Go to givermarketing.com/networking. Christine will welcome you with open arms. She leads that conversation.
Join our tribe. Come hang out with us. We love making new friends.
givermarketing.com/networking, and we'll go deeper on some of these topics. So God bless you guys. Look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. Woo! Let's go.